Get back! Ship! Get him! Get back, you monster!
I need the National Police at the farm immediately! A Komodo Dragon is attacking the sheep! Hurry!
Caesar as a 1-dim. Copy that. We'll dispatch units to the area immediately. Over.
Focus on the jaw structure here. We move in from the east.
And the civilians near the nest?
Perimeter is secured. Drones deploy on my signal.
The ground trembled before Jacob saw it, a vibration that traveled up through his boots and rattled his chest. He froze mid-stride, his hand still gripping the fence post he'd been securing. Behind him, the sheep scattered in panic bleats. Max, his German shepherd, stopped circling the flock and went rigid, ears pinned flat against his skull. Then Jacob saw the grass moving. Not swaying. Moving, parting in waves as something massive pushed through from the eastern tree line. The thing that emerged defied reason. 15 feet of scaled muscle, low to the ground but impossibly wide, its body thick as an oil drum. A Komodo dragon, but grotesquely wrong. Too large. Eyes that caught the morning sun and threw back an amber glow that had no place in nature. Max, heel. Jacob's voice cracked. But Max was already running, not away, but toward it. Loyalty turned to suicide. The dragon's head snapped sideways with prehistoric speed, jaws unhinging. Max's bark cut short into a yelp, then silence. The sheep pressed against the far fence, trampling each other in blind terror. Jacob's legs finally obeyed. He ran for the farmhouse, his phone already in his shaking hands, fingers stabbing at the emergency number. The dragon's tail swept through his peripheral vision, taking out a fence section like matchsticks. National Police, what's your emergency? There's, Jacob's breath came in gasps. There's something on my property. It's killed my dog, it's going after my sheep, sir, please calm down. What kind of animal? It's a dragon. The words sounded insane even to him. A giant lizard, 15 feet long, it's not real but it's here, sir, can you? A sheep's scream split the air. Not a bleat. A scream. Jacob's stomach turned. Oh God, you have to send someone. Haugen Farm, Route 12, it's killing everything, the dispatcher's tone shifted. Perhaps she heard the wet tearing sounds through the phone. Perhaps she heard something in Jacob's voice that transcended disbelief, the sound of a man watching his world end. Units are on the way. Sir, get inside and lock your doors. Stay on the line with me. Jacob reached his porch as another sheep fell. Through his kitchen window, he watched the impossible creature feed, its glowing eyes sweeping the meadow like searchlights. Hunting. The line stayed open. Jacob heard the dispatcher's fingers flying across a keyboard, her voice tight with controlled urgency as she relayed information to someone else in the room. Sir, how many animals are still? Jacob wasn't listening anymore. Through the window, he watched the dragon lift its massive head, throat working as it swallowed. Its amber eyes swept across the remaining sheep, then locked onto the barn where his 2 dairy cows were bellowing in terror. No. The word came out strangled. No, not the barn. He dropped the phone on the counter and grabbed his shotgun from the rack. His hands fumbled with the shells, 3, 4, 5 loaded with shaking fingers. The weapon felt like a toy against what waited outside. The back door slammed open. Jacob fired into the air, once, twice. The crack split the morning like thunder. The dragon's head swiveled toward him, those unnatural eyes narrowing. For a heartbeat, they stared at each other across 50 yards of trampled grass and blood-soaked earth. Then it moved. Not the lumber of a normal reptile but a predator's charge, low and terrifyingly fast. Jacob stumbled backward, raising the shotgun, but his boot caught the porch step. He went down hard, the gun clattering away. The dragon stopped 10 feet from the porch. Its forked tongue tested the air, tasting his fear. Jacob scrambled for the shotgun, his fingers closing around the barrel just as a bark. Raw and desperate. Max erupted from behind the water trough where he'd crawled, blooded but alive. The dog threw himself between Jacob and the dragon, hackles raised, teeth bared in a snarl that vibrated with pain and fury. The dragon's attention shifted. Max, no. Run. But German shepherds don't run. They protect. Miles away, 3 police vehicles screamed down Route 12, lights painting the country road in strobing blue. Sergeant Emma Voss rode in the lead car, her partner's knuckles white on the steering wheel. She'd heard the recording, the farmer's voice, the sounds underneath it. 20 years on the force, and nothing prepared her for this. Dispatch, ETA 3 minutes. What's the status? Static. Then, line went dead 90 seconds ago. Last sound was, we're not sure. Maybe gunshots. Voss checked her sidearm, knowing it wouldn't be enough. Whatever waited at Haugen Farm, they were already too late. The lead car fishtailed into the farm's driveway, gravel spraying. Voss was out before it fully stopped, her boots hitting the ground as she took in the scene that would haunt her for the rest of her career. The meadow looked like an abattoir. 3 sheep down, their wool matted red. The fence demolished. And there, Christ, there, the thing from the farmer's impossible call. It was real. The dragon had Max pinned against the barn wall, its massive body coiled, ready to strike. The dog's legs trembled but held. Behind them, the barn doors rattled as the cows thrashed inside. Jesus Christ. Officer Peterson breathed beside her, his hand frozen on his holster. Jacob stumbled toward them from the porch, shotgun dragging in one hand, his face ghost white. Shoot it! For God's sake, shoot it! Voss's training kicked in through the shock. Peterson, Chen, flanked left with the vehicle. Use the sirens. Martinez, you're with me. We create a corridor, drive it toward the north field, away from the structures. Sarge, our sidearms won't move. The second cruiser roared to life, horn blaring, sirens wailing. The dragon's head snapped toward the sound, its pupils contracting. Max used the distraction to dart sideways, limping badly but moving. The dragon's tail whipped out, smashing through the barn siding with a crack like breaking bones. Voss raised her pistol, aiming for the eyes, the only vulnerable point she could imagine. National Police. Back away from the animal. The absurdity of the command would have been funny in any other circumstance. The dragon's attention fixed on the approaching vehicle. Its throat bulged, and for one surreal moment, Voss thought it might breathe fire. Instead, it hissed, a sound like steam escaping a pressure valve, wet and ancient. Then it charged. Not toward the car. Toward them. 15 feet of prehistoric fury accelerated with horrifying speed. Voss fired, 3 shots center mass. The bullets sparked off scales like hitting stone. Martinez dove left. Voss threw herself right, rolling across gravel as the dragon's bulk thundered past, its claws gouging furrows in the earth where she'd stood. It didn't stop. It pivoted with impossible agility for something its size, tail sweeping in a wide arc. The impact caught Martinez's legs, sent him spinning through the air. He hit the ground with a sickening crunch and went still. The dragon's glowing eyes found Voss. She was out of time. Voss rolled behind the overturned water trough as the dragon's jaws snapped where her head had been. Her radio crackled, Peterson screaming for backup, Chen calling Martinez's name with rising panic. The dragon's shadow fell over her like a shroud. A shotgun blast exploded overhead. Jacob stood on the porch, the weapon smoking, face set with grim determination. The dragon recoiled, more startled than hurt, giving Voss the second she needed to scramble to cover beside the farmhouse. Your guns won't kill it. Jacob shouted, already reloading. I've got something, the old grain silo, the one by the creek. It's got a loading chute, 12 feet up. If we can lure it underneath, that's insane. Voss cut him off, checking Martinez's pulse through her scope. Weak but there. We need to contain it until wildlife control. There is no wildlife control for this. Jacob's voice cracked. That thing won't stop until everything here is dead. But it's hunting by sight and smell. I've watched it. It commits to targets. The dragon circled Martinez's motionless form, tongue flicking, deciding if he was worth the effort. Max limped closer to Voss, blood trailing from a gash on his flank, but his eyes were alert, fixed on Jacob. Voss's mind raced through options she didn't have. By the book meant waiting for backup that might arrive to find corpses. Martinez needed a hospital. The remaining sheep were huddled against the far fence, minutes from being slaughtered. What's the plan? She asked. Relief flooded Jacob's face. Max knows the whistle commands, he'll draw its attention, lead it toward the silo. Your cars create noise barriers, funnel it along the fence line. Once it's under the chute, I drop 2 tons of stored grain. The weight, the enclosed space, it might pin it long enough to, might? Peterson had reached them, dragging Chen behind cover. You have a better idea? Jacob's eyes were steel. Max barked once, sharp and eager despite his wounds. The dragon's head swiveled toward the sound. Voss looked at the injured dog, the desperate farmer, her wounded partner. Every instinct screamed this was suicide. But Martinez was bleeding out, and that creature was already turning back toward them. Chen, radio dispatch. Tell them to send everything, ambulance, animal control, the damn military if they can. Peterson, you're on vehicle flanking. She met Jacob's eyes. Your farm. Your call. We follow your lead. Jacob whistled, 2 short bursts. Max ran. The dragon followed. Max ran like his life depended on it, because it did. The dragon's heavy breath rasped behind him, claws churning earth as it gained ground. Jacob's whistle pierced the air again, 3 short bursts, the command for home. Max veered left along the fence line exactly as trained. Peterson gunned his cruiser forward, siren screaming, cutting off the dragon's angle. It hesitated, head swinging between the noise and the fleeing dog. Chen's vehicle roared in from the right, boxing it toward the narrow path that led to the silo. It's working. Voss ran parallel, keeping visual. Keep the pressure. The dragon's tail lashed out, denting Peterson's hood, but momentum carried it forward. Max disappeared around the silo's base, and for one terrible moment, Jacob lost sight of him. Then the dog emerged on the far side, circling back as he'd been taught since he was a pup. The dragon followed underneath the chute. Now! Voss screamed. Jacob yanked the release lever. The rusted mechanism shrieked. 2 tons of grain thundered down like an avalanche, engulfing the dragon in a wave of wheat and dust. The impact drove it to its knees, buried it chest-deep. It thrashed, roaring, but the narrow space and shifting grain trapped it like quicksand. Voss didn't wait. She sprinted to Martinez, Chen already there with the first aid kit. Behind them, the dragon's struggles grew weaker, not dying but contained, exhausted. Sirens wailed in the distance, real backup, finally coming. Jacob slid down the silo ladder and dropped to his knees as Max limped to him. He buried his face in the dog's neck, hands shaking as they found the wounds, checking, assessing. Good boy. God, you're the best boy. Voss approached slowly, holstering her weapon. Her uniform was shredded, covered in dirt and blood, Martinez's, maybe her own. Your dog saved all our lives. He was just doing his job. Jacob's voice was hoarse. Same as you. The ambulance arrived first, then animal control with tranquilizers and reinforced transport. Wildlife specialists stood in stunned silence at the partially buried creature, already making calls to universities, government agencies. This would change everything they knew. As medics loaded Martinez, stable, conscious, squeezing Voss's hand, she watched Jacob tend his surviving sheep, Max at his side refusing to rest. The dog's tail wagged weakly each time a sheep came near. Dispatch wants my report, Peterson said quietly. What the hell do I even write? Voss looked at the impossible creature, the devastated farm, the limping dog still protecting his flock. The truth. That sometimes courage doesn't roar. Sometimes it just refuses to leave its post.